Whoa, get gooders or good getters. Remember I called you that before? Haha, inside jokes. If you were
He's
here
bringing them
earlier,
back.
if you
Oh
were
man.
here earlier, you just saw the rookie division kick off its playoffs as we saw Belladonna unfortunately falling to Ignited Ember in what felt like a close series, but a 3-1 overall at the end of the day. And now Beanies joined alongside Hamwell. We're going to be taking you over to the expert division as we're going to have our first matchup in that playoff bracket taking place here today. Hamwell?
Yes, and that is, as you said, that's week one, round one, and this will, it's playoffs, man. This is my favorite type of Overwatch to cast,
Mhm.
just because it is make or break. It is win or go home. You're seeing the best stretch. You're seeing the culmination of a whole season of development, and so I'm interested to see tweaks to the meta. Where comfort picks will play out, and ultimately what that basically all means for the overall matchup here today between Aviate and Contract.
Yeah, and Aviate and Contract, two teams that we should mention being in the expert division are in the highest tier we have here at Get Good. So they're going to be putting on a show for us not only in Overwatch but in hero picks and hero preferences. Because when we're playing in the expert division, Hamwell, we can assume that a lot of players are going to be playing these heroes at, if not the highest level, near the highest level, where you can assume that if someone picks McCree, they're going to get the elimination in a situation where they should be getting it. They won't be missing key shots. Or if someone picks a Brig, you can assume that they're going to be looking for the optimal stuns, whether it be on a Reinhardt shot or on a Reaper ultimate, which could have been used last matchup. And that's going to be the beauty of really this next the fight we're going to see between Contracts and Aviate.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like you said, they really don't get to this rank for nothing. So they know what they're doing. It's as you get higher in rank, it's like the margin of error for everything in Overwatch. It just gets slimmer and slimmer, and so you're gonna see players hitting their shots consistently, and it's going to be the question of who's got more of that. I think pop off potential, and I really like to see. It fell in the first map, it fell to the DPS, but I really like it when the tanks are the difference makers. I think that makes for some really gut wrenching Overwatch. So that's something I look forward to seeing if we'll see this map.
Yep.
But
And
for the moment, we do have what looks to be Orisa on both sides, but traditional double shield coming out for the side of Contract. However, we do see a Wrecking Ball, Hysteria playing the Wrecking Ball. I love Wrecking Ball. Not good on it on PC yet. Used to love playing it on console. Was briefly a one trick of Wrecking Ball on console, but I can't play it on PC. It's far too difficult right now. But sadly,
just
it
got
is
to
not
get
to
the
be.
angles, my brother. Just get the
Uh,
angles.
It's not to be, though. We have Hysteria switching over to Sigma. Genji on both sides, Flyer and Neural, respectively, for their teams playing Genji. But the Torbjorn, a little bit different coming out. That's a bit of our difference maker. It's Ashe versus Torbjorn, and Torbjorn winning early.
Yeah, Torb number 5 back in action here. Going to be picking off one with the turret's help. Very nice when you're smart enough to make robots do the work for you. And now he's going to have another robot helping him out here as Neural on this Genji looking to shore up that elimination on the Sigma. But it's going to come at the hand of Fordal's Orisa. And even though Melting Core here is going to get put to the limit, it's not going to be the elimination that his counterpart saw it as. Just like that, we do see Sushi and company get their first point taken. Contract starting off very strong.
Absolutely, and the Torbjorn just creating such a just it's basically spy checking. It's constantly showing where the Genji is. He can't dive creatively, and from there you play around that, and Nyril on the Genji doing a great job cleaning up the early damage done. Little off on the amplification matrix, not quite getting the turret in there, but you will still get a ton of DPS. But if anything, that's really just going to slow down this attack coming out for Aviate. They will rotate. Yeah, they're going from there.
Aviate, a questionable amplification matrix right there. Not going to get any value from that. And now we're going to see Molten Core being used here. Sushi going to try his best to get a multi-kill, but that's going to go into the hands of Nero right here, who finds 1, 2, and with the Gravitic Flux coming into his possession, it's going to be just 3, 4, and a couple more. Is now Contract looking at another fight win and they're sitting pretty at 55% of the point. But we should note they invested a lot in that fight, and going into this next one here, Hamwell, it is going to be in the favor of Aviate for the ultimates.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we do have a late switch from Flyer onto the Echo. Gonna be interesting with that Torbjorn already providing so much just area coverage. It's gonna be real interesting how Echo can play off, but Supercharger coming out early. I expect Yuri to possibly use Bob this fight if they can weather this Supercharger.
Yeah, and we should note that the Halt came out and did not pull anybody off the high ground, so that's a big cooldown that was used with 0 coming from it. That's going to be a nice elimination actually coming out there. Going to take down Flyer is Sushi on the Torbjorn. Nero getting some screen time here, but Melton Core is going to be the one taking the cake right there, dropping Gladiator, and that's going to be so hard to come back from when you don't have your Orisa. But when Fordel also goes down by Yuri, that's going to be a little bit easier now as DPS are controlling this battlefield and trying to just take control here for the side of Aviate as they have the Brig, they have the Sigma. Now it's just a matter of time as Flyer does take down Nero, and with 99% of the point taken by Contract, Aviate does find themselves in control.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was, you know, it's 99%. That was make or break. The best part is, though, is they're not completely out of the running on their ultimates. You know, they've got a great amplification matrix. They could throw in with the flux, you know, combine all that DPS. I mean, those are some easy kills there at that point. But you know, this attack that Contract's about to have, you know, you've got the Molten Core. You can push in aggressively with that if you want. You can lead with Genji Blade, but Amplification Matrix coming out early. That's going to slow this down.
Yeah, look at that. We're just seeing the Amplification Matrix still being effective even with the wonky little angle coming in there. And the Gravitic Flux thrown in after we see the Halt thrown down. And with the Immortality Field actually stopping any deaths coming from that. We have the Dragon Blade coming in by Nero. That's going to be one taken down there with EMP following up with the supportive damage. Yuri taking him down though, avenging his fallen teammate. And with Wizard actually taking down with a nice little whiplash there by Flyer. Melting Core using the Gravitic Flux here, trying to just finish up the fight here for Contract, because they just need to win one more to get themselves the first round, but they can't get this Orisa off the point. The bunker is just too strong, and Yuri actually taking down one, can't get out of dodge there from the Genji, but Hysteria following up nicely and Flyer getting an elimination on their own. And this extended fight that we have here, Hamwell, it all plays into the favor of Aviate, because now look at the percent. We are at final fight territory.
It's one fight. It was one incredibly long, drawn out fight. Yep. And since then, they've now switched to heroes that have a lot more contestability. They've got Lucio, they've got Wrecking Ball. They're not really going up against many ults. They do have that duplicate online. I mean, you know, there's a lot of options you can go here with possibly the Sigma, possibly the Genji. I mean, Molten Core here on defense, if you duplicate that.
And we did get our answer. Flyer is going to be going with that Torbjorn. The Molten Core is going to get picked up, and he's going to throw some lava down onto the battlefield. There's going to be nobody left to take that damage, though, because by the looks of it, Aviate has taken control of the point, swung it from 99 to 0, and they have the advantage on the Oasis 1-0.
Torbjorn carrying for both sides ability-wise, except for the fact that Aviate didn't have a Torbjorn. They just had an Echo. And I mean, that was remarkably smart there to do at the very end. You know, duplicating the Torbjorn, you're able to farm up that Molten Core very quickly, and then you just use that to deny coverage on the point. You push, at that point, you push Contract out into the open, you whittle down the kills, and it's game over. Round Aviate, and just very well played. Overall, once they took control, I mean, it took them a minute, but once they took control, I mean, just they were in control the whole series from that point on. So we'll look to see if they can continue that momentum. We do have Sushi, and again, everybody's playing Genji, it seems. It doesn't matter what role you are on DPS. Nyrel going over to the Mei. We've got Sushi on the Genji now, still double shield, and this is what I wanted to see. These are the favorite heroes, essentially, for this team of Contract. They love running this, and I wanted to see if this comp would come out.
And so with Sushi actually getting a little risque right there, but just jumping down to get a health pack. Yuri actually going to find down one, and that's actually the straw that breaks the camel's back here as Aviate find the pick onto Orisa, and when the team loses their main tank, you're not going to stand for much longer. Fordel falling is massive there, and as the rest of his team just tries to get out at the last few moments. It's just ultimate economy being given over, but Flyer got a little too aggressive there, and this could be the turnaround coming in from Contract.
Absolutely, yeah. They've got the advantage on their side. Now they can really just control area. Nyrol with that May really can just control so much. I mean, it really, the way you beat double shield is to get up close to them, and Nyrol on May basically makes you not want to get up close to them. And then all the while you've got Sushi just doing Genji things, darting around, getting those flank kills and then getting that flank positioning. And you really have a strong recipe for control here on this point.
Yeah, now look at that Risa going down. Genji getting the credits there, 66% of the way to the ultimate. That's going to be big coming up on the next fight, as this one's already been secured here for Contract, eclipsing their opponents in percent accumulated now, with 25% being the marker, and Contract sitting on that Dragon Blade, which Sushi should have very shortly. The armor will be given from Brig. The amplification matrix will be given by EMP. So now it's just, will these ultimates be used correctly? And with one being thrown down, a second to follow suit here. Not too much value to be found just yet, but you gotta play the long game here, as the Gravitic Flux being thrown up and then back down. The Dragon Blade will be drawn here by Flyer first and foremost. That's gonna be 1, 2, 3. Oh my gosh, and one swell splash. Flyer takes down 2, followed up by a dash. He gets a third, and just like that, we see the point flip back into Aviate's control just before Sushi had a chance to do what we just saw done by Flyer.
Absolutely. And now on the upside, though, if your Contract, you've got a supercharger, you've still got your Dragon Blade online. Really, just the rally online at the moment for Aviate. You've got Nightly ready to go with that, but this Sushi's up there getting value already.
Yeah, look at that. 1, 2, 3 kills coming in. Dash, dash, and a deflect as well. And with the Orisa just holding left click, trying to find any value she possibly can. It's going to be Contract here, taking down the opponents of Aviate. And with 60% of the point taken, there's probably 2 fights left here on this defense if they keep total control.
Yeah, it's possible, but this has been very back and forth. And now looking at Aviate, they've got Rally online. That's great for pushing in. That could allow Gladiator to get into position with that supercharger, which is already out. The Maywall doing a great job of zoning that, though. And now Rally charging in. Freeze, though. Wow, great counter ult play coming out from Contract right now.
Yeah, that Blizzard is looking real big, but this Blade might be looking even bigger. Flyer with fantastic ultimate uptime. Unfortunately, though, does dive a little too deep and not having the support that he needed. The Hull Accretion combo is just missed out there. But Aviate, even then, with the mishap of the Dragon Blade, is able to get themselves onto the point. And now we have ourselves a hell of a round 2 here on Oasis.
Even in diving too deep, Flyer creates a lot of space, which Gladiator and Hysteria and the rest of Aviate used to really just establish some control on the point. And now looking at Contract, trying to recontest here. They only need to win 1 fight. This is familiar territory, though. They only needed to win 1 fight last round, and they couldn't quite thread the needle here. They do have some ultimates. They've got Flux with Amplification Matrix. That is a great combo that we could possibly see out here. That could allow Sushi to get up that Dragon Blade as well. And that'll start it.
The Halt Accretion dash combo dropping down 1, but all of a sudden the fight flips on his head here, and Aviate is going to be taking control of it, as they yet again are able to pull the round away from the side of Contract. Aviate, time and time again, have managed to pull out these fight wins when they needed to most, and by the looks of it, they just have 2 more eliminations to sure up, and they're going to come at the hand of this Dragon Blade here, and that might be all she wrote for Oasis here, as Aviate are going to be taking round 2, and they're gonna take map 1.
Victory.
Lost my.
Oh man!
All right.
Look at Hysteria.
Sorry about that. Had a little bit of mic difficulty. I'm back, but yeah, that was just a phenomenal defensive stand coming out from Aviate. They know how to control the point. They great viability out of their ults, and just from there they really know how to control these points.
And look at that, the cards given over, well deserved there. You love a good Brig performance, but honestly, as I said it at the end of that round, Aviate really just both rounds there on Oasis just took it away from Contract. It felt like Contract. Okay, I don't want to say took it away because Contract they could have done things differently, but really just Contract had both those rounds and just didn't get the job done when they needed to most. And they had opportunities.
It was really noticeable to me at the last fight, or on the last point, two very big fight losses for Contract. Sushi gets Dragon Blade online, and then very shortly after that dies with Dragon Blade. And that specifically on that final fight, that could have been a real difference maker. I mean, we saw that was really just the challenge, and Aviate with Fly are able to get the Dragon Blades off, and you saw instantly what kind of value they got. And Sushi and Nero, they got value too with the Genji. They just Aviate did such a great job of shutting down Genji there on that second point of Oasis, and that to me was a really big difference maker. And that falls a lot to the tanks, I'd say, with Gladiator and Hysteria. So I mean, that all just kind of lends itself to some great coordinated play coming out from Aviate, and that really is going to set the stage, I think, going in to our next map, which I do believe is going to be Junkertown.
Yeah, wait, let me check the ear.
Oh, yep. Aha.
Okay, yeah,
Aviate will be defending again. Or they will be on. They'll be defending. Excuse me.
Yeah, they were defending
again,
King of the Hill. They were defending the control map.
Yeah, it just throws me off because no one defends on King of the Hill. You're always attacking. That's King of the Hill.
Yeah,
both sides attacking.
But now we have a little more strategy thrown in here, a little more thought. And Junkertown, the map that I love to play and I love to watch as well, because our DPS are going to get a chance to pull out some snipers, hopefully, and really flaunt their mechanics.
Whew, sorry about that. Had my dog going off outside. So
he's just hyped about Junkertown too.
Yes, okay. He is. And Junkertown,
like
a fun map. I mean, you've got a lot of variability coming out on Junkertown, where you can basically play Widow early on. You can go close and brawlier as the point sort of progresses.
I love that.
And,
I love
that.
Yeah,
I love when maps have sort of call it a multi-sphere of different abilities. Yeah, multifaceted. Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. My dog, he was barking at some surprise visitors. So yeah, we're good to go though. And yeah, back to the point at hand though. Double Shield plays really well here, but at the same time, maybe we're going to see some Zarya Hog. I've heard rumors that can be. It's a very strange tank lineup, but it does have its niches. I doubt we'll see it. I have to imagine both sides are going to go Double Shield here. BAP with Double Shield kind of seems to be a center piece for just a high percentage of comps these days, and I expect to see probably a lot of that.
Right here, you can see Mad Max in the distance.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, he's out there. He's riding the motorcycle. You have to squint and turn your head to the right a bit, and you'll see him. But nonetheless,
which Mad Max though? Mel Gibson or Tom Hardy?
That's the beauty of it. It's whichever one you want it to be. And
here we go. You wish.
Junkertown loading up. Sushi on the Widowmaker. Flyer and Yuri both rocking snipers as well. So 3 out of 4 DPS are using snipers. Not to be surprised at all here on the first point, Junkertown. We do have Knightley on the Zenyatta too. I really enjoy seeing the Zen BAP support line, and Yuri nicely done here, starting off strong. Gonna be getting an elimination here for the defense.
Yeah, that's exactly what you need to do to start this off. Really solidify your defensive hold, allows you to really just set up your position, and now you're playing on the front foot. You're making them use abilities to counter you, and that's exactly what you need to be doing on defense.
Oh, we see a nice little Halt Accretion Zenyatta combo taking down Genji. Nero gonna get dropped for his troubles. A flanking Widowmaker trying to get a little bit too antsy there as Hysteria gets Sushi off the map there. You gotta wonder if that was an Accretion or just a left click, but nonetheless, Melting Core will avenge his fallen Widowmaker comrade. Now it finally seems like the power of the point's going to go over to the offense. And yeah, look at that, Neural EMP, all riding the high of that Amplification Matrix ultimate. The point A there may be a recontest to come in, but Hamill, I'm not sure how strong of one it will be, especially when you see the stagger coming in here on the Widow.
Oh yeah. With Yuri getting found out now, that's going to make a recontest difficult. I mean, you're really just feeding ults at that point, going in 5v6. So at the end of the day, I'd almost caution against the recontest and really just set up your double shield comp here on the high ground, ready to move in. But it looks like they won't take my advice. Gladiator running on in. Flyer does get that pick though, so I mean, something to be said.
Oh, Yuri in exit 1. Something for your troubles on the way out there. Thank you. And Yuri going to have that, but it will be point A taken here. Escort,
Hey, party gifts are always nice,
The thing with escort maps though is you take point A and then you get to point B, and I feel like point B, the second point on escort maps, and for the sake of argument, hybrid maps as well, it's so often just rolled through so quickly. It feels like it's just one of those points where both teams can really brawl it out. They have similar spawn points to where the cart is going to be located, and you can really see some difficult troubles for the defense. But none of that, by the looks of it, is going to be had here as Aviate do find their footing on the defense, and now it's going to be left in the hands of our offense as Contract are going to have to get themselves back into the driver's seat, and they do have 5, I'll just say it's 6 ultimates coming up here to try and get this point back.
Yeah, we can round up. That's 6. 85% for Sushi on the Widowmaker ult. And that's the last one gained and the first one out, I believe. So looking good there. But I'd have to say Rally coming in, Supercharger, yeah, that's a great combo to use here, especially when you're playing up close and personal.
Yeah, and that trans perfectly timed to take away Mural's Dragon Blade. And we haven't spoken enough about Knightley on the Zenyatta, really doing a fantastic job and not dying unnecessarily. A big issue you see with Zenyatta's is it can be really hard to stay alive in a lot of situations. Not only that lack of mobility in his kit, just the natural WASD movement. You have the really juicy headshot target that snipers just love to find. You have the no CC built into the kit. So there's a lot of things going against you to stay alive. Knightley's just done a great job at staying alive, and you saw that value right there, having the ultimate ready for the Dragon Blade.
Oh, for sure. And Supercharger, I mean, that's the thing with Zenyatta's is that at the end of the day, if you're not, showing up negatively in that kill feed, you're doing a good job 9 times out of 10. You're providing that utility for your team. Even if you're not, getting the kills, the Discord orbs are always invaluable, and you're not getting killed unnecessarily, as you said. I mean, that's absolutely huge. This attack, though, coming out for Contract, they do have Flux with Amplification Matrix that seems to be these ults coming online very similarly for Contract. I just feel like I've noticed that combo constantly. That's a huge pull down though.
Yeah, both tanks are going to be pulled down to the ground. One of them actually going to lose their life. The Orisa, some would argue the more important of the two, going to go down. And now without that main tank to hold the fort, Sigma and company are going to have to keep backing up. And that's exactly what Neural wants, because that's going to mean Genji has a chance to really just wreak some havoc on these straggling supports. And the EMP is actually going to take that fun away, taking down Knightley. And Sushi on this Ashe going to find that Sigma very shortly.
Absolutely. That's just really great positioning by Nairo, really just disabling any sort of chance for a recontest there, just because, I mean, the threat of what Genji can do when you're alone out there and trying to retreat, it's just too great. You have to back up, you have to recontest, and smart of Aviate to respect that, and ultimately now they're gonna group up, and they're gonna be starting to looking pretty good on their ult economy. They've done really well using the Transcendence aggressively to really just mitigate all that damage and get up close and personal and kind of go counterintuitive to the double shield comp. So I'd be interested to see how they do with that. But Flux on the attack, that's very nice from Melting Core.
Yeah, Yuri actually able to get one at the start of that, but with Neural and Melting Core responding very well, it's going to be a matter of time before we possibly see the fight flip on its head, as the offense the entire time has been moving the cart. So Contract feeling very good about this entire push here. I don't think they've actually run into any difficulties, and Neural finds an elimination through the a second through the Transcendence. A miscommunication across the board here by the defense, and Contract fighting them and taking them down when they showed their weakness. And this is a different looking team from map number 1, ladies and gentlemen. Contract finishing out this Junkertown map with 1:56 left.
Yeah, and once we hit that third set, all semblance of defense sort of went out the window there. I mean, that was just contract rolling through. Nairal on the Genji was just doing so much to aggravate any sort of regroup and setting back up for a defense. I mean, just constantly playing on the aggressive, constantly getting value. I mean, Melton Core using ultimates, that placement after Yuri gets the opening pick, using that to go ahead and turn the fight in the opposite direction and make it a 4v3 or a 5v3, 5v4 maybe on your side. I mean, you flip it on its head. All of a sudden you were down one, now you're up one, and you're rolling through the point. I mean, it's a recipe for success, and that's what we saw from Contract.
Yeah, and it's honestly just so difficult to come back from a round like that, especially when you never really got a full fight on third point. You know, every fight was really started off with an unfortunate pick, or in one situation, we actually saw Aviate get the first pick, but then just two kills came back just like that. And next thing you know, Contract is just pushing through to the end of the map. So now with Flyer on that Genji still finding a good amount of success, it's going to be interesting to see how this almost identical.
It's identical.
Totally identical matchup is going to play out. Who's better at the comp? Straight up.
It's two Spider-Mans pointing at each other. It's pretty identical.
Exactly. That's the best kind of meme.
And I like it too, because it's like, if I had to say, I'd say Flyer might have a bit of the advantage on Nairal on Genji. That's hard to say after that last attack. But I'd say Yuri has the advantage on Sushi. So this is a very interesting battle going on DPS.
I'm sorry, did you see that?
Oh, yes.
The mind kill with Yuri?
Yeah.
You never see those in the kill feed, but you love it when it does happen. Shout out to him getting 2 eliminations. Flyer heard we were talking about DPS, wanted his name mentioned in the conversation, and now it's going to be just like the last offensive push we saw come out. A clean wipe, and point A is just getting moved through easily and breezily.
It really is, and now we're seeing Sushi switch over to the McCree, and it's something I actually heard on Overwatch League casting recently, was that if you're losing the sniper battle, change the direction of the battle, and going over to that McCree allows you to do a lot more shield burst, allows you to focus some other targets besides specifically focusing the Widow battle, and so that might be what Sushi's going for here. But wow, Hysteria, he's fighting him off. Almost single-handedly there in that alley.
That deflect battle is beautiful. It's just 2 Genjis deflecting the same things back and forth to each other. And it was just one of the very few moments in Overwatch where everyone just sits and appreciates what's going on.
Genji badminton.
Exactly. Genji badminton, Genji Pong, whatever you want, you got it. Dash
it's probably more Pong.
Dashes and Gravitic Flux is coming in though, and Ping Pong might be the name of the game here, because they're getting bounced around and they're just going to get cut up afterwards. An unfortunate circumstance as Aviate just rolls through the defense there. Nightly picking up 2 eliminations at the end, and with 4.5 minutes, by the way, Hamwell, 4.5 minutes left.
That's huge. I was just gonna say, that was just a straight string of Genji kills for both sides. It was just like Genji's killing everybody on both sides.
That's been comp Q too, so
yeah. Oh man, shoo. And I think a lot of this stems from the fact that Genji's been out of the meta for so long that the awareness and how to counter Genji is something that's not as inherently ingrained in players as it was, say, during dive meta. But now looking ahead, Nairal on this defense with the Dragon Strike, they're throwing everything at him. This defense is saying it's all coming out.
Yes, Sushi does get found out by Hysteria there. Nairal on the blade only finds the immortality field. Not going to get any elimination there. Actually, at the end, spoke a little too soon. Does find Nightly. And as the Orisas are going up real close and staring each other in the face, it's going to be Gladiator coming out on top. With Flyer barely staying alive there. Couldn't be kept up by the Baptiste. And Contract able to win out in this fight and keep their defense holding here with 3.17 meters left to go on the card.
That was risking it all right there. Like, they were literally like, we have to win this fight. We have to try and stop them here, deplete this time bank. This is where we stand. We're going to use every ultimate we have, and if we don't win, we're kind of screwed at that point. And fortunately, they did win out. And now, because the fight did draw out after that, they've started to build some things back. Melton Core with that Gravitic Flux almost back online. Nyrol on the Dragon Strike right there as well. And so this ult disadvantage isn't looking quite so grim. But that being said, I mean, all Aviate has to do is basically do the same thing Contract just did, and they'll win this fight. But whoa, look at that stun!
Flyer on top of that gets the nice little Genji with the supercharger. So that's going to be a lot of damage coming out from that Dragon Blade. No nano boost necessary. This is 2020, my friends. Orisas are boosting our Genjis and keeping them alive at the same time. 4 minutes on the clock here as we move to the third point of Junkertown. And, you know, if we see much of the same here from Aviator, then, you know, we're going to get a 2.5 minute time bank here at the end of this push. And Yuri starting off strong, taking down Neural, giving a good case for why Aviate will be finishing this map rather quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's Aviate. The attacking teams are just doing really well at keeping the defense on the back foot, getting early picks, and Yuri doing a slightly better job of it here, and you're seeing it kind of reciprocated in the time bank. But we caught the missed grapple.
We don't have to talk about it.
It's proof. Yuri is human. It was good to know. Yuri is human.
Oh, the Gravitic Flux. EMP does get taken down during all of that, but Sushi following up, taking down Fire, getting a second there. The Hanzo carrying this fight here on behalf of the defense when they needed it most, and winning this fight, even though Yuri is going to take out Sushi. I don't know if the recontest can come in here from the offense. The defense has the spawn advantage, and they still have the numbers. But the point is being pushed back here by Orisa and Sigma, and it's really just a game of tug of war right now. Is they're just going back and forth around this corner.
It really is, and this is it's such a great contesting point because you've got flanks, you can try to get crafty with it, but ultimately the defense still does have really good spawn advantage, and now using the supercharger aggressively, I like to see it. They're gonna really just slow down this attack and really maybe even up this time bank here just for the cost of an ultimate.
Portal gonna be dropping that supercharger, only going to find an elimination onto that immortality field, so just gonna wait this out here is going to be Aviate now with Stereo on top trying to control the high ground. Neural finds the elimination there onto Flyer, and Aviate going to lose numerous members there just like that. And now we're gonna have to talk about the fact that Contract is on top here in time, as that 156 time marker does in fact get passed over.
Absolutely, and that was the supercharger getting used early in that fight really did slow down a lot, and it really allowed for Contract to reposition themselves and kind of tackle Aviate head on there. But that being said, Flyer hasn't had a bad Dragon Blade all night, and we see that coming online. We see Supercharger coming online. This is usually about the point in the fight on each of these points where Aviate breaks it open, and Yuri's starting it off.
Yeah, taking down one. We got the immortality field thrown down. Not going to get much value as it's swiped away. Actually, you know what? It got just enough value as Sushi able to eliminate Flyer. But Yuri also taking down Portal now. So it's a battle of the snipers here. And I'm not talking about your quick scoping battles from Call of Duty. I'm talking about good old fashioned hold down, right click, hit left click. But that's Burger King, Gladiator, Nightly, and Hysteria. Everybody except the snipers get to finish off the fight, because even though it may have been started from a distance, it's closed up close. And now with a minute on the time bank, it's gonna be a hell of an overtime here, Hamwell.
It really is. And I mean, despite being a minute down in the time bank here going into these extra rounds, I mean, you gotta say, like, Aviate looked really strong. The problem was that they weren't quite as strong at winning fights in between the blades, and that's strange because Yuri's getting a ton of value on the Widow. So I'm just interested to see kind of how what's going to change to kind of allow that kind of pressure to still be more cohesive and more constant versus just when Flyers got the Dragon Blade. And I don't expect to see much changes in comp. Sushi going to the Sombra, I do like that. You're going to change the game up a little bit. Running the what's it called? Cyber Ninja, I believe. Cyber Dive, or maybe it's Cyber
Blade.
Cyber Dive. But yes, the EMP blade. I mean, that is a big, especially when you consider how BAP's going to be playing around the Orisa. You know, the key in the EMP here is really that they're going to have to get Burger King on that BAP, really shut him down from using the Immortality Field. That's going to be really the big point, I feel like, of this EMP, is to basically allow
can
for
be
a
really
clean fight
difficult.
win without that lamp.
Well, we see right here that
Right off the bat.
Flyer's not having any of that, taking down 2, and Hysteria's going to be following it up with a 3rd elimination there. Flyer getting a nice little double dash on stream. We got to see the clean mechanics right there. And yeah, I mean, you know, there is definitely an attempt there by Contract, but I'll leave it at that.
Yes, and it was, and the idea was right, but you sometimes just can't account for plays like that. And Flyer really putting on a clinic right now with this Genji play. I mean, it's definitely fun to watch. I mean, we haven't seen Genji in so long, and now we are just seeing so much Genji, and I'm a fan of it.
Well, we see Genji's left and right dashing across the map here, but Sushi actually going to strike first blood here. And as we hit 5 seconds left, this is going to be the last fight. So this is really where it matters. You got to get this fight win here if you are Aviate. You got to find a way to win it out, but the hacks are coming in, and they are just so aggravating to deal with. Nairo going to get eliminated, though, by Flyer, his counterpart, and that's going to be the Dragon Blade coming up right now. And he's going to be whipping it out, but no Immortality Field to keep him down, and he's just going to hack. He's going to slash, and he's going to dash his way through point A here for his team, and Aviate's going to be setting their sights on the 2nd point of Junkertown.
I was literally just saying to myself that ults weren't going to be a factor here in this fight, and Flyer just somehow out of nowhere is just like, oh, have my Dragon Blade, now I'm going to just go in. And that was just, I mean, that was the win condition, was Flyer getting that Dragon Blade, and they got that. And now this really gives them a good opportunity to really snowball through. I mean, we see it so many times, whether it be comp games or Overwatch League, you see the snowball here in overtime happen a lot. And I think we could see that here with the way Flyer's been playing on Genji, with the level of oppression that Yuri's been pulling out on Widow.
Yuri almost landing that nice jump shot there. A Gravitic Flux gets canceled out by the EMP, and Fortal going to find the elimination there on the Flyer. That's a big pick. So now Yuri, as you talked about, has to really put his money where his mouth is. And unfortunately, his team is crumbling all around him. The Supercharger is thrown down, which means it's going to be finally Contract's turn to go onto offense.
Absolutely, and that was just a question of, you know, after that first fight, you know, Ultimate's not being online, that really boded in favor of the defense, especially having, you know, the point presence that they did. You know, that all goes out the window with Flyer, but you have to remember those ults don't just disappear. They weren't used. And at the end of the day, that's really, you know, just a gray area to lock down with Supercharger. You hit it with the amplification matrix too. I mean, that's just, it's overkill, and excellently fought off there on the defense. And now win condition is set. Contract know exactly what they need to do to win. That's going to be a tall order, though. I mean, 2 minutes, while it was twice as much time as Aviate had, it's still not a whole lot of time. And the way that Yuri and Flyer have been playing, this, you know, it's hard for me to believe that this match is, I mean, we've just been saying Yuri and Flyer the whole series, and yet this match is insanely close. And I think you really have to, Fortal and Melton Core and Wizard Cat and EMP, I mean, the whole team, they're really doing a great job of mitigating the DPS potential that these two have. So, I mean, Sushi going over to the Ashe. I like Sushi's just kind of basically a dartboard, you know, darts at a dartboard. Okay, let's see if this can work against Yuri. And I like it because you're just testing the armor, and you'll finally find a weak link at some point if you keep playing that way.
Well, now we're going to have to see how strong that armor is, or whether or not that blacksmith is going to have a lawsuit on his hands, ladies and gentlemen. Because with that halt coming in, Yuri is actually going to take down one. Flyer with a dash and Hysteria with another. And now if you ask me, that armor is looking pretty damn good.
I set you up for that one, didn't I? I'm mad at myself.
The Kobe to my Shaq. The alley to my oop.
I didn't want this. I'm so sorry. But Nightly, and that's the thing. When you're playing with Yuri and Flyer, they dominate the kill feeds, and Nightly's been getting up in there as well. So it's definitely solid to see. This is a technically profound team.
Yeah, and take a look at Yuri's ultimate charge, sitting at 70% now. So gonna have walls very soon. And when Yuri has walls in his pocket, taking down Nero, That's another
Ooh.
elimination there. And back to my point, once Yuri has walls, it's going to be very hard to make any sort of progress here. But with Hysteria and company still holding the fort down very close, it's so difficult to get any progress. And look, it's under a minute now. Even if that fight win goes over to the side of Contract, I think there can be a recontest that comes out from Aviate.
Absolutely. Now you've got uh, Infrared coming out from Widow. You've got Flux coming online, possibly a rally, possibly Amplification Matrix, but the big one, Flyer's got the Dragon Blade, and it looks like they will be fully fully grouped up for this recontest here. Meanwhile, Rally and Amplification Matrix, they've got to be the ults here for the attack. Are they even gonna?
No, they're gonna leave it to one fight, Hamwell. They have a little bit of ground to give up here on second point.
Actually, brilliant. They're letting the time tick
left.
down by the door opening. The point's not moving right now, but the clock's ticking down. The point's only just now starting to move. That was actually very big brain. They don't use any ultimates there, and now they have final fight in overtime. One fight to win it.
The Gravitic Flux is used. The Immortality Field's thrown down, but with the Dragon Blade being thrown down into the middle of the gauntlet, he's going to be throwing his left and right, but none of them are going to finish anyone off as Nero pulls his Dragon Blade out, and that's going to be eye for eye, taking down Burger King and EMP, but Yuri and Hysteria are the ones finishing off the eliminations, and by all she wrote, it looks like Aviate are going to take a 2-0 series lead.
Wow. That was absolutely insane.
That was absolutely brilliant.
I mean, I'm in shock. Like, that was very well played coming out from the defense there.
And
wait.
Hysteria. Oh. Honestly, one of the deadliest parts about Sigma is that AoE from the left clicks that come in. Because when you fire that into a group of 2 or 3 enemies, all 3 of them are going to be taking that damage. And when you get enough of those left clicks off, it's really going to chunk them out.
Yeah, and the Sigma play has been very understated, at least on my end. I haven't talked a lot about the Sigma play.
Hysteria's been doing
But
work.
Melting Core and Hysteria both have been getting a ton of value on their roles, respectively. And Sigma, I mean, all this combination is so cool to watch with the Orisa, the Sigma, and the Genji. Watching the halt into the accretion, into the dash. I mean, it's such a cool concept to see. I mean, I'm waiting to see what the fourth thing we add into it, because it used to just be halt people into things, and it was halt accretion, and now we're doing halt accretion dash. So what's the next step? Need a third tank and do a Winston
Halt accretion dash fire strike.
3 tanks still. I thought you were gonna give me something legit, but you didn't, and I appreciate that.
I mean, it's possible in open queue, okay?
Oh wait, or just have
queue.
your other DPS play an echo.
Exactly. Boom. There you go. Solves everyone's problems.
Game over. I just created the new comp, guys. It's done.
Or you can throw a coalescence in there if you want.
That's true. That's true. But then who would be playing Moira and Brig and Bap?
I don't know. Honestly, that's the thing. That's
but
open
while
queue.
while we're over here
Open
theory
queue.
crafting, Contract and Aviate with a 2-0 lead in this series, we're going over to Kings Row. I mean, Yuri and Flyer, that's to me, great Sigma play, great tank play, great support play, but I mean, that's the reason for the 2-0 lead at this point. I feel like it's simply just Yuri and Flyer. I mean, they've been difference makers.
I don't want to say simply them, because as I mentioned before, Nightly on the Zenyatta, we saw very well played timing.
No, so true.
Ultimate, and then Hysteria, a crucial member of this team's success. I mean, Hysteria and Melting Core are going back and forth in these maps, and
they are.
Melting Core, unfortunately, is losing out in terms of map score, but it really feels like these two are very close in skill level. Hysteria just is a slightly better Sigma from what we've seen, and that's the struggle of playing these mirror comps. It's if you're not better than the person playing the same hero across from you, then you're really going to get overshadowed.
Yeah, and it then begs the question. It's like, is Hysteria the better Sigma player, and that's allowing Yuri and Flyer to get more out of their heroes, or Yuri and Flyer, the DPS, are they just getting a ton of value with their DPS, which is allowing more opportunities for Hysteria to show off? Like, it's one of those questions where there really is no right answer. They're just a team playing very well in synergy, and I'm interested to see. It looks like now they are in in attack and chilling, waiting to attack. But I wonder if dive will be played here.
I'm not gonna count any chickens before they hatch. I
That's a
am.
good words to live by.
Yep, yeehaw, cowboy. But what we can talk about is the defense, and honestly, nothing surprising here. Yuri on the Ash. I mean, just choosing that over the Widowmaker and whatnot. Nothing to be surprised about there. And honestly, just gonna get a lot of value from that Ash pick because when you have the high ground on defense, you can get that dynamite off. It's gonna be very difficult to deal with that kind of damage output. But you know, no slouches on the offense either, as Aviate does have to deal with contract who did almost beat them last map. Don't forget that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, Contract for a 2-0 scoreline, Contract is very much in this right now. I mean, Sushi and Nairal have shown a lot of potential so far for the big plays, and they've hit some, but they've been a bit overshadowed. But they have a chance here to kind of turn this around. They're playing. They're playing very aggressively, and they're playing very mobile, and that's really good to see because it's really keeping Aviate on their toes here.
Yeah, now with the Hulk coming out, both Arisas just kind of holding down that left side of point. And you see Hysteria going up for this flank here. It's going to be really risky as he does use all his cooldowns. Going to have to try and get out of there. He does have the accretion available, so it will be good enough for the time being. And with the rest of Aviate covering his backside with these eliminations here, Flyer just barely misses out on the Arisa, and the stun follow-up does get him dropped. But that Sigma that we talked about from Aviate getting the accretion yet again, and that's going to be another elimination going over to the defense.
Absolutely. Now, that Genji pick is big. There is a possibility for a reset to at least take a little bit of ground before you have the threat of the Genji coming back into play. That will be short-lived, though, as Sushi, or as Flyer will be rejoining the fight, excuse me. But now, Hysteria, that all-important Flux.
Nero with the amp had the high noon going and didn't get any eliminations from that. And now the Gravitic Flux is going to get one. It's looking at a second, but Sushi might be one-upping this Sigma here as the blade does come out. Unfortunately, only finding Burger King there, and Hysteria has to try and carry this fight for his team. The defense doesn't have the numbers. They have the longer spawn, but another elimination is found, and this Sigma is the lone survivor, the Ryan who needs saving. He just has to get out from behind enemy lines, and unfortunately, he will get dropped by Sushi. The recontest seems a little bit hopeless at this point, and we're going to see the rest of King's Row here as point A almost feels like it's going to be taken for certain, even though there is a commit from Aviate here. But the Gravitic Flux, the Supercharger, all of it's just too much coming in from Contract. And there you go. Point A taken, sight set on point B.
Wow, and that was I can't believe they even decided to contest that there, and they almost pulled it off. And in doing so, they basically reset the old board. So honestly, even if they aren't aware of it, they've done a pretty good job.
Sushi's gonna make them regret that very soon.
Oh dear, yeah, you're right. Sushi's at 75%. That will be the next ult coming online, and this is a rare opportunity because Sushi's he's ahead in the ult game. He has the chance to be the aggressing Dragon Blade. It seems so many times like Flyer's been the aggressing Dragon Blade. So now this is a chance for Sushi to really even the score, so to speak.
Yeah, Nero though gonna take down one. Knightley does actually drop Sushi there. Sushi not able to get the blade out just before it was available. So Knightley dropping the most crucial member of the opposing team, now able to give them an opportunity to recontest with Hysteria throwing up the Gravitic Flux, dodging out on the stun, throwing his own out there with a dash coming in from Flyer, and the deflex securing the eliminations at the backside there. And with just under 3 minutes left to play on the map, Aviate get the defensive hold.
Well, they really lived up to their name there. You just see Hysteria and Flyer come crashing down from the skies into the bulk of the double shield comp of Contract, and they just clean up. Now, the attack
from above.
It's looking very good, though, on the side of Contract. They've got High Noon coming out early, but they will have that Flux, possibly paired with Dragon Blade. That could be something we could see here, but they just got to get the ball rolling.
Yeah, this Ant Matrix, though, is going to make things really difficult here as Aviate can actually strike at the Jugular, but they won't have an opportunity here as they are surgically torn apart by Sushi's Dragon Blade. He missed the chance last fight, but didn't miss an opportunity this time around. Found the opening, took control, and next thing you know, I think we're going to be going to third point.
I certainly do think so. And surprise, surprise, it's time for another Genji Blade. Flyer now uh, with his Dragon Blade online and the Supercharger from Gladiator. This has been a tried and true sort of combination coming out from Aviate. So we'll be looking to see if they pull that out. But Sushi shutting down Yuri early. This is a reversal of fortune here.
Yeah, Contract really don't want to get kicked out, and they want to keep themselves going here as they have the momentum and they have their tanks positioning for the advantage. But with the Gravitic Flux being thrown down, a beautifully timed Immortality Field will get dropped. The Lamp is protecting them. Unfortunately, Flyer does have the blade up, and he manages to help take down 2 before he is dropped. And that's going to be all required from Aviate as the Gravitic Flux, or excuse me, the Accretion does come in after the halt, and that's not going to amount to much of a kill anymore, but the defense does find their footing again, and we're sitting at 2.5 minutes on the clock.
Absolutely, and they're sitting on some good ultimates to use here defensively. Now this is a fast engage though coming out.
Oh geez, yeah, there's pedal to the metal, but Bob.
And then Bob put an end to that though. They stopped pushing when they saw that Bob.
Yeah, Bob was holding down the fort while the Supercharger was pushing everyone away. Sushi, though, going to take down Yuri, getting a little too aggressive with the peaks, and Gladiator going to fall as well, with Sushi actually getting another no. Nero taking away all the eliminations from this Genji. No fun allowed for you, my friend. But 2 minutes have just been passed, and this cart is going to be pushed ever so closer to the end, but I think we're going to have one more fight here as the recontest can come in. They just can't get stopped, and it's going to be really hard to get past that amp matrix right there. And they can't get to the point!
Oh, no. That's not quite a C9, but that's pretty darn close.
They weren't on the point to get off of it. C9, I feel like you have to get off it.
Yeah, you have to remove yourself, like be alive and not die and just leave the point. But no, they were just coming back from spawn and they just couldn't quite, the timing wasn't quite right, and it's unfortunate because BAP, has to stay to hit that amplification matrix. He was the first one out though. Could he have touched? I don't think so. But Lucio might have, but you needed BAP, you need that amplification matrix. That could have been the linchpin to holding there. But that said, Contract, they push it on through for 3 points, minute 44 on the clock, and they're looking good. They're not out of this yet. They're ready to bring this up to a 2-1 scoreline.
Well, we'll have to see if they can back up their offense with a solid defense here. And by the looks of it, we're going to be seeing a lot of the same here. Nero really feeling that McCree pick. Yuri, though, going to be whipping out possibly a Hanzo instead of that Ashe this time around. So, and Hysteria Gladiator going for that Orisa Reinhardt combo. I'm not gonna jump the gun here with these picks. They still are playing around a bit, but a curious selection of heroes coming out from our offense.
A motley crew, you might say.
You just might there, my friend.
But more of the same coming out on the side of the defense. You've got Sushi. I think Sushi's starting to kind of feel themselves a little bit on the Genji now. We saw some real flashes of brilliance there on that attack, and I want to see this carry over into the defense and bring Contract back into this fight.
Well, with Gladiator and co having that slow and steady push coming up here, they're gonna have to make sure they keep Flyer alive, and it's really risky going with that Pharah without any sort of either Mercy Pocket or Zenyatta Orb. I mean, just going for it with the Break Pack really just dedicates that one resource entirely to Flyer, and it's working fine.
I mean, they've already lost EMP, the bulk of their healing. I mean, they're completely on the ropes now, and 2 ticks of progress is going to be given up for free. They might even give up the point here. Like, they will ultimately contest, but only just barely.
I mean, Sushi does get 1, so Yuri going to be dropped here, and that's going to be Melton Core taking down another. So you know what? They do get the recontest, and they do get the point back in their control. Contract, very nicely done here. Sushi getting that blade with 96% on the board.
And that's exactly what needed to happen. Sushi doing a great job, really coming alive on the Genji. You look at the great thing about that defense. You did give up a ton of progress, but I mean it's going right back down to 2/3 of the way there. And on the exchange, you've got 2 DPS ults. You've got Rally coming in too for great sustain on the point. And all you're looking at in the face is a Flux and a amplification matrix, really.
Well, we have a dash going up to the high ground and does get stunned down, not going to be eliminated from that, so no punishment there. And we have a
he was lucky to get out there too, absolutely.
Oh yeah, for sure. That fall when he got stunned was definitely a blessing in disguise. But Melting Core now is gonna try and deal with that. Widow make that too as Sushi dashes over and just singles out Yuri. Flyer though with the deflect high noon elimination. Unfortunately, that might be the only shining moment in this fight here for Aviate as Contract just turn it on their heads, take down the offense, and now with under 2 minutes left, Aviate have only one tick to take, but that last tick is proving to be the most difficult one.
It really is. This is and it's been a very infallible defense coming out. I mean, aside from Nyril losing the deflect Deadeye to Flyer, other than that, I mean, this has been very well played. I mean, just you know, coming back in at the right time for that recontest. I mean, that's been the difference maker, and they've seemed just like a team of determination ever since. Look at that.
Hysteria going down, and now the Ant Matrix just singling out the Orisa. I mean, at this point, you should just start inting yourself and try and get eliminated as fast as possible, because there's no hope of winning that fight right there. Beautiful by EMP. We should point out the Ant Matrix single-handedly winning the fight for them. The only ultimate required, and that really just stampeded through the shield, through the tanks, and then eventually the whole team.
Well, thank goodness, because otherwise they'd be, you know, close to a Genji Blade, but they'd really have nothing else coming up against 4 ults on the side of Aviate. This really is their fight to win at this point. If they can't win here using ultimates, it's going to be very troubling for their chances to even, you know, get this first point.
Yeah, well, by the looks of it, they're not going to have any trouble here. They have the supercharger, they have the blade, and now they have the point as Aviate are able to finally get the job done here with 3 minutes on the clock to push through the second point there. It seems, you know, we're seeing a lot of what we saw when Aviate was on defense, because we have to remember Contract did have a difficult time taking the first point on offense, and once they got the ball rolling, they did take the second point pretty quickly, and then third point much of the same. So by all means, this is still on pace to possibly have even time finishes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're still, you know, because of that really great contest on defense to really just slow down that time bank. You know, you're in a good spot right now, even after taking that loss. Sushi got booped away. I think he's just kind of standing there.
Yeah, and
I don't think he's gonna get anything.
He had the dash available. He chose not to commit. He wasn't feeling good about the blade. Very important choice there, valuing his life over the risk of using the blade there. Will it pay off though? And it looks like he may have just needed to go for it, because it's not going to pay off at all. His whole team gets wiped, and this second point is going to get breezed through by Aviate.
Oh, you need to and you need to go for it right now. I mean, I understand the logic Sushi has there, you know, about self-preservation, about not being the first one picked in a fight and bring your team down to a 5v6, but I mean, aggression is the only way I feel like you can stop this aggression coming out from Aviate, and specifically from Flyer, because I mean, you waited around and then Flyer was there to clean up the kills, farming up close to another blade in the process, and now they've gotten this, you know, this second tick for essentially free, you know, and so I just, it's difficult. It's a difficult decision to make in those, you know, instant seconds, but you know, aggression, that seems to be the name of the game here.
Well, hopefully there's going to be a lot of that coming up with Aviate, because Flyer is sitting at 95% of his way to his ultimate, about to get that Dragon Blade, and when you have that Bob and Gravitic Flux, you're sitting pretty to really get yourself a W here. But Sushi taking down one. Nerial not going to find any eliminations with that high noon, but it does enough of a job to keep this offense from getting any further ground taken. A late Hulk going to come out, but Flyer does get picked, so that's going to mean that the Dragon Blade discrepancy has been evened out. Sushi now has ultimate as well, and if Flyer had used his ultimate that fight, we may have seen a snowball come in, but that's going to be an important decision that we need to keep in mind, as the Gravitic Flux does come out right onto the Immortality field.
Oh, absolutely. And now that was a great Immortality field, negating a good portion of that, but Flyer's just going to do Flyer things, I guess.
Oh yeah, I guess get stunned up, left click, and dive. He gets dropped just like that, and Yuri's Bob is really going to be doing the heavy lifting here, with EMP just being a nuisance on the point. Does eventually get dropped, but it is going to be the point finally moving. And we should point out that because of the time that the point was taken by Contract, if this gets sent to overtime, the best that Aviate can hope for is a tie. So Aviate need to get this through before we hit overtime.
And already Contract in a much better position defensively than Aviate were at this point in their defense. So, I mean, this is looking really well. Sushi now I mean, gonna get a ton of value with that blade, but I mean, you've got good ults on the side of contract to hold this point here. I mean, you know, with just about a minute remaining, and you're sitting there with Deadeye, you've got Rally, you've got Amplification Matrix. I mean, I would say use the Amplification Matrix just for sustain, for heals. You know, keep your tanks built up because you know that Aviate's going to be rushing in. They've got the Brig, they've got the Tracer. I like the switch from Flyer over to the Tracer. I think there's better alleys and a little bit better movement here on this third point to take advantage of. But Deadeye, we'll see.
Well,
Nothing.
Nero does not find anyone there with the Deadeye. Yuri, though, going to find EMP's Immortality Field with his Dynamite, and there's going to be an accretion through the Amplification Matrix the opposite way. Hysteria gets stunned up and eliminated, and now with Fordle and the rest of the team just following suit, this looks like Contract is going to be winning this right now because they have 30 seconds left, and now the best that you can see come out from Aviate is a tie. The best that they can hope for is a tie. So they need to get to the
Absolutely.
point now.
Yeah, barring some miraculous throw of a C9 of a back cap of soon proportions. I mean, yeah, this is going to overtime. And I mean, I honestly think Contract holds it off here. That was a bit of a whiff on the Flux. Might have just misjudged it, but you still got Sushi coming out with his Dragon Blade. This could finish it.
Yeah, could, should, and would, my friend. That's going to be one coming out, and Sushi getting a second there on the Nightly as Nero does try to pick off this Tracer, a dreaded enemy of the McCrees, but Yuri may have something to say about it. Sushi and Yuri trading it out. One of them is going to get the better of the other, and Sushi actually does just that. And now, by the looks of it, the cart is still being moved. So there is going to be hope for a tie as Flyer does take down one. So we have to keep in mind, Hysteria on this cart is going to be the lone hope. And as the longer overtime goes, the more or the quicker and quicker it's going to disappear once they get off the cart. And with the respawns coming in, the defense is favored and they get off the cart and we will be going to a map 4.
Oof. Excellent defense coming out from Contract. I mean, really, they're finding their swagger here on Kings Row, and I really think they just it might still just be 2-1, but they really might have just fought their way back into the series here with that victory because. Yeah, I mean, this looked like a much better team. You know, Nairal and the McCree hitting the shot, Sushi, you know, leveling the playing field in the Genji battle, and all of that. You know, you put all that together, and it really looks like a already very close match just got a heck of a lot closer.
For sure. I mean, we knew that that the 2-0 was a lot closer than the scoreline suggested, and now we have perfect opportunity to prove it as Yuri and Co trying their best just to keep their footing in this series. As we do have Assault as our next map type coming up here very shortly, and you know, Assault is going to be an interesting map type because you know we talk about it a lot. It really has that chance of just going so one-sided in one team's way depending how the pushes go for both offense and defensive teams. So going into this, having momentum is really big. Feeling really confident about your playing is big. And Contract, I mean, this is exactly what you want going into an Assault.
Yes, it really is. I mean, that being said, they do have their work cut out for them. They will be going to Anubis, uh, Temple of Anubis for this assault map.
I'm getting that now.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, did I
Okay,
ruin
got it.
oh, did I
Got
ruin
it.
your little head thing? Oh, that was totally
No,
not
it's
my
okay.
intention.
I just got the delayed input, so don't worry. I
Oh.
just had to.
Oh yes, oh yes. You know, delays. We have to work with delays here. It all checks out. Good. But I mean, you have to remember Aviate has looked really well on points specifically. You know, they did very strongly 2-0 on map 1 of control. And if you think about it, it's kind of like two control points put together almost in a sense when you look at assault. So I really just think that sort of coordination, that style of play that Aviate's using, it does bode to their favor on on an assault map. But that being said, I mean, Nairal, looks like we will be having a sub for Sushi at the moment, or perhaps, but that's what I'm guessing. I mean, you had a ton of kind of a bounce back in Kings Row, and I really think that that's gonna, if they can ride that momentum, that's really gonna serve them well coming up in Anubis because it's such a Overwatch is such a momentum based game. I mean, it's all about who's kind of feeling themselves. That's why the whole alpha Chad Ryan mentality is there, is because that swagger, that cockiness, it says a lot to the mentality of your team. And like as the cheesy say, attitude reflects altitude, or something like that. I'm not good with those witticisms, not my forte. But that being said,
We should point out that Aviate also has a sub coming in. Pro God looks like they're
Oh.
taking the place of Flyer right there, and now we just have to wait for Contract to get that last member added in there. Not sure if they're going to be making any swaps or maybe just a client restart, something of that kind. So we'll
Yeah,
have to see.
I would question subbing out Sushi unless it's a specific comp strategy and hero pool thing. Uh, Unless it's something like that. I mean, Sushi looked really good, and it does look like we will have Sushi back.
Ah, there we go. Yep.
Must have just been a restart. That's very good. Because Sushi looked very good. The DPS duo really evening the playing field, and now with Prod God joining the mix, big shoes to fill. On the side of Flyer, and so this will be interesting to see how this comp sort of changes for Aviate as they go in here to Anubis. But that being said, they're in a good place. They can experiment. They can try some stuff out. They're up 2-1 in a playoff match, and they've looked strong so far. But that being said, I mean, it could all vanish away. You never know, and that's what makes Anubis such a great map for that. Is because it's very multidimensional. It's very I mean, I don't know. I have no prediction about who could win. I'll put it that way.
Well, I'm gonna put my money on the likes of Aviate. I think that, we see a lot of 3-1s and teams that are like, in this case, it's not a situation of feeling that Aviate is significantly worse than Contract. And it's not a situation where Contract is significantly worse than Aviate, but I just think that from what we've seen, Aviate seems to be able to pull out kills when they need to, and they seem to be able to get ultimates a lot faster than their opponents. It's just a matter of using those ultimates when, not holding on to them, I should say, and using them efficiently and whatnot. Point comes to mind when I talked about the Dragon Blades, where there was that discrepancy in ultimate, and Flyer had the blade and Sushi didn't, and Flyer didn't use it, and then Sushi got it, and that chance was lost. So they are getting ultimates faster. I just want to see them use them faster, and I believe that Aviate will win.
I like this defense coming out. This was what was doing so well for them on King's Row, and I think if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And basically making Aviate basically beat this comp if your contracts. Yes, interesting. But Prod God, important to note, Prod God is on the May, so that is the difference in comp we will be seeing. May, very impressive here.
Oh, Yuri actually does get taken down by Sushi, but with the rest of the fight happening around this little market area, it's going to be Wizard striking blood onto Hysteria, and the offense not going to have much of a hope to win this fight now because the entire defense is holding W. The wall may slow them down, but May, you're going to have a hard time getting away from this push, as they do end up letting May live, I should say, and Sushi actually has 58% of his ultimate ready to go, and Yuri swapping over to the Ash, going to have a little less available, exactly 3%. I spoke a little too soon. There's the 3%.
Good prediction there.
Thanks. And then 4% came after.
There. Wow. You were a psychic of sorts, sir. But Burger King about to get that amplification matrix online. Nightly getting that big kill onto Nyrel. This is all starting very nicely on the side of Aviate.
Whoa. How often do you see that? The Gravitic Flux intro gets the elimination there. Sushi following suit with the blade, and that's going to be another defensive fight win here, but they invested a lot to get that W. They invested the rally, the Amp Matrix, the Gravitic Flux, and the Dragon Blade. But Nero coming back on the Echo. I'm excited to see this.
Yes, that will be an interesting switch. I like this. It's going to be very, divey, really darty in the DPS, bouncing around, keeping Aviate kind of on their toes as far as where's the attack going to come from next. And we're seeing it prime. Forcing out the Immortality field there is Nyrol. And already, I mean, they haven't even got to the main choke battle yet, and they're already down in Immortality Field. Now they have to, do they, burn 30 seconds off the clock waiting on that, or do they, go in without it? That's now the question you're forced to ask. Burger King does have that Amplification Matrix. Amplification Matrix versus Supercharger would be interesting.
Oh no! Melting Core
Eaten!
the Blizzard. That's awful for ProGod and Co. They needed that ultimate, but they might be able to recover here, getting 2, 3, 4. Oh my God, Hysteria carrying the fight here. We talked about the Sigma for Aviate is one of the players to watch, and I think every elimination from this fight came at the hand of Hysteria right there. Incredible job.
Yeah, that was a clutch if I've ever seen one. And I mean, Sushi does get the kill at the end there on to ProGod, but I mean that's a moot point at this point. Dragon Blade coming on just a little too late, but just excellent way to weather the storm. I mean, I thought that fight was over the minute Melton Core ate ProGod's freeze, and then all of a sudden it just kind of kept going and going, and ultimately, sure enough, Aviate turns a loss into a win there, and now a healthy time bank. Oh, did I get that back?
Hysteria was waiting for that to happen. Once he saw it go in there, he's like, yes, just as I predicted. And like the anime monologue happened and whatnot. Time slowed down for him where he said like 20 lines of dialogue in a span of 10 milliseconds. But you know what? That's the past. And currently the point B is actually being assaulted right now.
Look at these 2 DPS ults coming online for Sushi and Nairo. This is going to be an excellent way to defend this point, but I imagine Melton Core with that Flux, that's going to be the real ult to break open this defense if it's going to happen. And they might not even need it. This is very slowly played coming out from Aviate right now.
Ooh, the Sigma transition coming in, not finding any value from that, getting dropped very quickly, and Sushi waiting out. The Blizzard comes in with the Dragon Blade, but he doesn't drop the Immortality Field. He gets stunned up. He's not going to find any value from that ultimate. In fact, he even gets dropped by Nightly. Say goodnight, Moon, my friend, because you are going to bed. But the rest of his team tries to keep the point control to themselves, and Fortal on this Orisa holding down the fort. They're sending the opposing Orisa turning, running, and now with the fight going back in favor of the defense. Contract able to hold down without giving up a single tick of the point, and that's what you love to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sushi, a timely switch to Doomfist there to contest, getting a nice bit of value on it, immediately switching back to the Genji. And you're looking at another Supercharger coming online for Fortal. You've got Rally coming online for Wizardcat. So, I mean, you're not completely ultless on the side of the defense, but Hysteria, man, those Fluxes, big value all series long. Burger King's got the Amplification Matrix. This is not out of the woods yet if you're the side of Contract. And now you've already given Hysteria the high ground too. Like, this is just very good positioning coming out already on the side of Aviate, but all undone.
Wow, that just happened so fast.
That was a blink of an eye.
Yeah, the blink of an eye.
Team kill.
Team kill from Melton Core and Nyrol, really, the two that initiated that string of eliminations. And with a minute ticking down here, we're going to be seeing, I want to say 2 more fights, but that's assuming that this fight gets ended quickly. If this fight doesn't get ended quickly, we are going to see the final fight of this offense here for Aviate.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. But now, the attack, they do have some ultimates coming online. Aviate, they've got Bob and Freeze. I mean, that's a huge combo. Throw in the Supercharger, Flux mid-fight. I mean, there's a lot of stuff there. Rally's going to sustain them through this fight, but an early rally from Wizardcat is exactly what the defense needs here.
Yeah, now we see 1 elimination comes in from Nyrol, and that's huge because that's a support, actually. Excuse my grammar right there. A support going to be lost for the battle with Bob trying to fill the void. You can't get any healing from that ultimate there, and Sushi's going to be demanding a lot of it. Does, in fact, get dropped, though, so Bob decides the best way to heal his team is just eliminate the one dealing damage to them, and I can't argue with that logic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it won the fight there, and now you're I mean, you're look at this defense now. You've got 3 ults, Supercharger coming out. Like, let's just talk about Fortal. Fortal's been farming the Supercharger this whole round. I mean, can they even touch? I don't think they touch.
No, they do get
No, they
there in
do.
time with the Blizzard active, but Nyrol gets frozen up after a Shatter. And even though the Blizzard was used and the freezes came through, I don't think much is going to come from this because that Supercharger makes this an impenetrable wall. And even though they took point A, they couldn't take point B. And that's going to be Contracts switching over to offense.
Yeah, and that's a huge defense. I mean, that full hold on point B. This is Contract's chance to tie the series up now. They've got it in their sights. Prod while the May switch I think was the right idea. I just the synergy, the upside versus having Flyer just doesn't look to be there. At least on Anubis. I mean, I would have. I mean, why not run Prod God and Flyer on King's Row with the May Genji strat? That would have almost seemed to be a little more sensible. But you know, who's to say what strategies teams are working on? This is all very calculated by their coaches, I'm sure. And you know, Hysteria now switching over to this Reinhardt. I'm interested to see that. I mean, the Sigma play has been so spectacular. Orisa Ryan is honestly, I do enjoy it better on the double shield variety. It's more fun to play, in my opinion, but that's because I play Reinhardt and I don't really play Sigma that well. So, I mean, I might have a wee bit of bias there.
There's always a place for Reinhardt players, though. I mean,
oh yes,
we don't have to talk about when
in the corner with my crayons.
I'm thinking about that summer when Double Sniper came to fruition, just after I think it was just after Goats was finished up. And that was a bad time to play Reinhardt because everyone was playing Hunter Widow.
Oh, shield break city and then getting sniped instantly. Yes, it was fun times. But the only sniper on the board at the moment will be Yuri on the side of the defense for Aviate.
Ooh, that wall! Do you see that? He got one player stuck. Couldn't even make out who that was, but that was incredible right there by Pro.
I think that was Melton on the Sigma.
Well, whoever it was, they did get out. They did get out alive, and that's what's important here. Is it's an evened out fight here, but the backside, Genji and Reaper, both of which trying to get a flank down. Yuri sniffs it out in tandem with ProGod, so now going to be leaving open the rest of this as we do see an attempt at the Halt Dynamite combo. No luck to be found of it, but Hysteria has to stay alive on this Reinhardt because that Shatter is about to come up, and that's going to be a game changer right now if he can get it down, but only playing with us as he comes up with the late Shatter, and the Halt comes in too. Beautifully timed by the two shield tanks there, and with two abilities, the fight swings into their favor, but the stabilizing, it comes in. There's not enough damage with this composition, and you gotta keep that in mind. When you run two main tanks and a Mei, you have a ton of CC, but you don't have that damage. So you need Yuri to be coming up big, and Yuri is doing just that, taking down Sushi alongside Burger King. Very nicely done here by Aviate.
Yeah, that was phenomenal. And I mean, I loved watching how they basically swapped sides in the middle of that fight. Now the cleanup just coming through. Hysteria, wow. I really love Reinhardt. I love seeing it. And I mean, wait, Hysteria used Shatter at the start of that fight, and boom, Hysteria has Shatter again. Look at these ults coming on. Oh, what an early Shatter! Oh, he got the sneaky Shatter!
The sneaky Shatter!
Wish we could have got that more in camera. We should have been following right. That was so great.
Aviate, my gosh. Just pulling out the sneaky bag of tricks here. And for Contract, you got to take a second and regroup. I mean, they have the ultimates and they have the ability, like the natural ability to take this point. They just need a second to recover from the constant barraging of ultimates and damage.
Yeah, and check this out now. I mean, you're halfway through your attack phase. No progress gained. I mean, you've got sneaky from behind Shatters coming out. I mean, Aviate's filling themselves. They've got good ults, but battling superchargers. Sushi with the blade coming out.
Yeah, Sushi coming out with that blade. Only going to find one elimination there, but it is onto the Orisa, which is a big elimination to find. Aviate, though, had this Blizzard in their back pocket, and with ProGod doing May things, that's going to be another fight win for the defense here, and we're ticking down to a minute left, and so we're going to have to keep in mind that, you know, one fight, if it goes too long, could be all that they get here. So it's going to be important that Contract wins the fight or they lose it, and they lose it decisively and quickly.
And they're really, I mean, May's halfway done, so aside from their support ults, they're not really close to anything. So doing a quick dry fight and trying to build some ults and then quickly resetting for a final fight doesn't really serve them much value here. So Rally and Application Makers, this is really their lifeline right now, but a big shatter.
Oh my gosh, Aviate finding 1, 2, 3 after another.
Double fire strike kill.
Yeah,
you
the
love
double.
to see it.
If you're Hysteria, you love to see it, but everyone else on the side of a contract not enjoying the view as much. And there wasn't much margin here for a W to come from Aviate. You know, I was thinking they were going to get
I'd wrote it
high
off.
at best.
I
But
wrote it off, yeah.
one fight left here, Hamwell. That's all that's left for the offense and the defense. And with 2 walls coming in, the nicely timed wall, they're stopping the offensive push. And there's just so much happening around the side of contract. Aviate trying to get their ass to safety, and they do just that. And when they have this application matrix being used, a charge being thrown down, and now with Baptiste battling, and that was going to be Burger King getting out that one.
To be huge.
The freeze is massive, and this could be exactly what they needed from Contract as 1-2 eliminations do come through, but it's not going to be enough. Contract can't get enough eliminations, and the double shield seems to have worked to perfection. The full hold comes in from Aviate, and they're going to win 3-1 and move on to the GGNA playoffs.
My mind is blown. I feel so I feel so bad for Contract. I mean, it all kind of fell apart there. And I mean, I questioned at the start of that defense for Aviate. I had questioned why we brought ProgGod in for this map. Like, what was the game plan behind the scenes? And I mean, we see it answered there. I mean, excellent May play coming out. The real question was, it was for the defense. All they needed was to get that 1 point, and they it's almost like they knew they could full hold, and it was almost like it was never in any doubt for them. So I mean, that if that's not a huge statement win to secure that 3-1 for Aviate, I don't know what is. This is definitely a team I'd be looking towards for the remainder of this tournament, because that was a statement victory on that last point. And I mean, props to Contract. They kept it close the entire series, and I mean, this easily could have ended up a tie. We could easily have been looking at a 2-2 scenario here, if not for just a stellar full hold. I mean, that's really all you can say about it.
Yeah, I mean, you can say a lot about Contract, but you can say even more about Aviate. They did a fantastic job, and
So
it's
true.
never difficult to play that first point when you are on 2 CP and you're down, or excuse me, you get to the second point of a 2 CP and you don't get any progress. So you know that the only win condition you have is the full hold, and not often does that full hold come through in that situation. But we saw it right there by Aviate. A fantastic job cleaning up that 3-1, which, as you mentioned that many times, didn't really feel like a 3-1. It felt so much closer between all 4 maps, whether we go through Oasis, Junkertown, Kings Row, or this final map right here on Anubis. It all was stellar to watch. And that's exactly what the Expert Division in GGNA is giving us. So that is a beautiful showing. Thank you for everyone for playing in that. And Hamwell, you got any goodbye words or kudos for our lovely fans, our lovely Get Good supporters?
Nope, just keep tuning in, supporting throughout all these playoffs. I mean, this is round 1. It's only going to get better from here. So I'm just excited to be bringing the action. It's been a pleasure to cast with you tonight, and yeah, stay safe out there.
Exactly.
That's
Stay
all I
safe
got.
out there, everyone. So tomorrow, Get Good's coming back. We got some console action in Europe tomorrow, starting at noon Eastern Standard Time. So if you're hanging out, want some fun around noon, and to check out some console Overwatch action, stop by the Get Good channel. We'll be bringing you more fun there. So don't go anywhere for too long. We'll be expecting you at noon tomorrow. Every one of you in chat. I'm taking a screenshot right now, and I'm going to make sure I do roll call. Well, thank you guys for coming out. I've been Beanies. Hamwell, we'll be seeing you on the other side.